Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host, Rian Hobson, and happy Heritage Day. Today we will actually have quite a hell of a show because there was quite a lot of news that came through. One was that gold and the US dollar is actually moving together. And then we have a story out of Britain that there's a shortage actually of oil and that oil stations or gas stations are actually closing. And then also there was something about natural gas that came out of the United States. And then we have another problem that is now the Evergrande construction company that actually give a headache for foreign investors. I will just take a short break and then I'll be back with you with some very good information on this Heritage Day.
Keep your finger on the market pulse with the News Alerts tool. Stay up to date on the latest sentiment across all the major asset classes. Uncover bullish or bearish signals tied to specific assets that could be developing before major price moves, and track how news sentiment correlated with price in the past. Track the news volume on an asset, its fear index, and get a better feel for its underlying strength. All with News Alerts, your central hub for market information. That's higher trading from MarketsX.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host, Rian Hobson, and I was just actually sharing my screen now with the Hong Kong shares that actually got a beating this morning, or I would say the whole entire Asia actually. They took actually quite a heavy beating this morning, and that is all to do with Evergrande. They're still silent on their repayment, on their interest, on their interest repayment for the bond, and it's about an 83 million bond. So I will just actually share my screen with you, and that you must be very careful when it comes to trading today. This is actually the Hong Kong, okay, I was just taking the Hong Kong equity, and look, it actually went down with about a 1.58%, and it looks like it will continue because there is also another there was the main story that actually came through was that Evergrande stays silent on its $83 million bond interest payment, leaving investors in limbo. So the people are not sure what is actually going on. Did this guy pay back the money, or did they pay the interest or not? That actually leave the investors in limbo, and that's why the Asian stocks were down. Now, if you look at the market, actually, this was now since yesterday. If you look, for example, the currencies, if I just take the majors, for example, if I just actually make it this a bit bigger for you, this is actually the majors. This is now from markets.com. And if you look like Australia, US dollar, Euro, US dollar, all of them were actually basically going down. And that was now yesterday. And on top of that, if you look at the dollar index itself was actually also down yesterday, or it's slightly up now, but it's not that it's actually aggressively moving. For the Australian, New Zealand dollar, the euro, the British pound, all of them actually went down. And in fact, what also happened for the last few days is that gold actually went down with the US dollar. Now, that for me, it's actually a bit strange. It's not the first time that I did not see it, but it is actually leaving a bit of a question mark, like what the hell is going on in the market. Then we have one hell of a story actually that came up. That is now the BP story. BP closed UK gas stations due to truck shortages. Now, there is actually a problem in the UK. And that leads actually to a shortage in gas because there's not enough truck drivers, how I understand the story, that can actually deliver the gas to these gas stations. And they needed to close down these gas stations where people basically fill up their cars. Now, that is one hell of a problem because that could lead to inflation. And obviously, oil prices can go up in the UK. And also, the Bank of England did stated that they look at inflation at about 4% for this year. So they need actually to lift up that interest rate or get out of that QE system that they're actually having. And that QE program in the UK has been going on now for a very long time, not just from the pandemic. So they need actually to become more hawkish and try actually to bring down inflation by lifting that interest rates aggressively up because, well, if the oil prices are going up due to a shortage of truck drivers, then you will sit with one hell of a problem. And then the big one now, this I must say, natural gas has been very good to me. If I can just show you actually I will just get to the story now. And if I look at natural gas and I actually looking at my open positions, you can actually see there just want to make bigger. I'm sure you guys still remember my trading account. And as I said, I started with about $250. It's actually now sitting on $344. And if you look at my closing positions, and you can actually see, if I just move it, I actually am nearly $120 up. But look at natural gas, for example. It gave actually $13 for me yesterday. There's another natural gas that I traded on $23. Natural gas again, $12, $20. And this is a small account that I'm actually trading on, because I'm trading with my traders, and I always actually putting out the whole gas story, because as I said, I was throwing the bones the last time, and the gas is actually really going in my favor. Well, I did not now say that everybody or the people in the north must actually die of the cold, but look, natural gas is going up and it looks actually good. And this is actually some positions that I do have over. Look, as I said, this is not now a place for you where you just look at the trades that I'm taking and you also now replicate the trades. This is actually what I do in my classes, where I tell people what to do, and then we have actually take trades actually basically together, and at least they understand what the hell I'm doing. If you look actually for this one, I'm just actually making my screen now a bit bigger. These are the positions that I did take out. If you can see here, the natural gas and gold. Actually, gold for me is the one that literally underperforms a bit, although it's a bit in profit now. Oh, sorry about that. It's a bit in profit now, about $1, and then also I have natural gas is also in profit. The main thing is with gold. For me, it's a bit underperformed if you look at all the problems in the world. One is the Evergrande in China. Two, the shortage of oil that's in the UK that can lead to major problems. And then you have also the other story the others in the United States, where I actually think there is a shortage of gas. Although they say there's a lot of gas in the United States, but I will actually put the story for you down, because I think they are actually in a big story. When it comes to gas, Michael Ngozi, China Evergrande market. Look, that is one hell of a problem. These guys are $300 billion in the red. And the interest repayment they needed to make yesterday, and these guys are quiet about it. And the bank, not the Bank of China, but the Chinese government did warn actually the municipalities that they need to actually prepare for the downfall of Evergrande. So look, it looked actually evident that the Chinese Communist government is pulling the plug out of Evergrande, and there will be millions of investors that will lose their money because they did buy these properties. And there's about 200 projects of Evergrande that is actually just sitting there, it's standing there, and there's nothing. China has been building ghost towns now for years. And I mean, Evergrande was building about 600,000 houses every single year, 600,000 houses every single year. You can just imagine how many houses is that, or units is that. And now it's then all in limbo, and these guys are about to collapse, and people's deposits and whatever savings they use to buy these properties are in limbo. So this will be one hell of a catastrophe, not just for China, but for the whole entire world. And that's a story that you need to look up and read about it, because I can tell you now, I've been warning you since 2017 with the Ultimate Depression book, that this thing is going to collapse and it's going to end bad. And definitely it will. Just for another story also is actually the natural gas story in the United States. The stuff did come out yesterday. Natural gas inventories was 75 billion cubic feet versus 75 billion cubic feet expected. The BCF stands for cubic feet. I'm just actually hiding this quickly so that you can follow this. Working gas in storage was at 3 billion. Yes, 3 billion cubic feet as of Friday, September 17, 2021. According to the EIA estimates, this represents a net increase of 76 billion cubic feet from the previous week. Stocks were 589 billion less than last year at this time, and 230 billion cubic feet below the five-year average of about 3.3 billion cubic feet. So it's far below, it's below it's actually crazy how low it is, because this time it is 230 cubic feet, you can say that, below the 5-year average of about 3.3 billion cubic feet. So this is actually a bit of a huge problem. At 3 billion cubic feet, total working gas is within the 5-year historic range. There is actually, most of the time in summer, normally the Western world is actually storing up gas for the winter. And as I did warn you guys about the old farm almanac, the guys with the 230 years experience that normally to prepare people in the United States and across the world, or I would say in the Northern Hemisphere, about the weather forecast, and they actually prepare or tell people that there will be one hell of a winter that is actually coming for the north. I'm actually just making this bigger. They say actually here, the 2022 Old Farm Almanac comes with a winter warning. Prepare for a season of service. The winter will be punctured by positively bone-chilling below average temperature across most of the United States. This coming winter could well be one of the longest and coldest that I've ever seen in years, since Jenna Stillman, editor of the Almanac, of the Old Farms Almanac. For 230 years, the Almanac has been helping readers to prepare for winter worse with its 80% accurate winter forecast. Now, this is actually something that I did read before, and honestly speaking, it looks like we will get a one hell of a winter. And if these guys actually don't prepare for this, this could be one hell of a catastrophe. You have a shortage of gas and oil in Britain, and now we're sitting also with this story that there'll be one hell of a winter in the United States. This doesn't look good, but it looks good for the gas prices. It looks good for the oil prices, because those are the things that actually can pick up when there's shortages across the world. So I hope these guys are making some contingency plan for this mess that can erupt. So thanks, Michael and Corsi, for that message. That is it from my side for today. I hope you guys have a lovely Heritage Day and also a lovely long weekend that will be for now until Sunday, or some people will have it until Monday. But that is it from my side. I will see you guys on Monday at the same time at 1 o'clock. Bye-bye.